Welcome to another 5-star edition of Props to Consider and Then Maybe Bet. I am your host, the paragon of virtue himself, Lou Betya, right back at you on a Thursday for big pay-per-view weekend of props. Update from last week. Did all right. We did all right last week. We're on the climb back up. We're going to head into the holiday on a good note. Who better to bring on than the only other guys in the space that have perfected the art of props from the Lambeau show and from like the Pittsburgh area. Actually, you're from Chicago area. Why am I saying Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh fan,
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh truther, Mr. Tim Troiano. Tim, how are you doing today, man?
Doing great, Lou. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome. Can't wait to chop this card up.
So if you've never seen the show before, this isn't like to the people. This is not a full card breakdown kind of show. This is quick hitters about some of the props we like, out of deference and respect to what Tim and Mike do, Mr. Narco Cop. Tim is going to go a little against the grain here, and he's actually going to give us his best bets, which he doesn't do very often on the internets. So I'm excited for that. And Tim will nod in approval at some of my insane plays that I've come up with. Tim, why don't you start us off with one of your props?
Sweet. So I will go with the main event. I think that this fight's going to end either way. I know that Izzy tends to want to play with his food and kind of stay at range with people, but I just don't think that Periera is going to give him that fight. And when you watch them fight in kickboxing with different gloves in a different area that they're fighting in, it's just it's chaos. And I think that that's going to be what you see in the main event here. And I also think that Izzy could come out a little more aggressive just to kind of prove a point. So I like the under 4.5 a lot in that one. Plus 100, you get both sides. You get almost pretty much fight doesn't go. I don't think it reaches the last half of the last round. So even money on that, 50-50 on something that I think is actually closer to the 60-65% range.
I love it. And I think that Izzy maybe needs a statement win here as well from all the criticism. I looked at fight to end in KO there, but it's not much of a difference from the under. Like, I don't think it's like, I think you're saving 20 cents to do that. So you may as well take the extra 20 cents and get the submission equity with it. All right. I'm going to start off with, I don't know why I'm starting off with this. I'm going to start off with the Juarez Carolina fight, which from a DraftKings perspective, I hate that I feel like I have to have this owned a lot. I'm playing Juarez round 1 KO. I'm going to say in advance, part of this may be awful feelings because Brady and I were loving Na Liang against her, and then she died. And Brady and I still don't talk to this day over that fight. But the round 1 KO is 6-1. Carolina's defense is just abysmal. I know she hasn't been knocked out a ton in her career, but man, Juarez can land. It's her win equity is just keeping her on the feet and landing. So I'm going to take the poke on Juarez round 1 KO. And I think fight doesn't go the distance is going to be one of my favorite bets because I think Juarez can get subbed here. I don't know how you feel about that fight, but I feel like violence is up in play here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the tendency of like Carolina's fights, I mean, she has shown crazy durability. I mean, like that's the thing that would scare me on the KO. But I do agree her defense is bad. So it's kind of like if she does get like bonked, it would not surprise me at all. However, at the same time, I've seen her get bonked like crazy and still stand 5 rounds with Joanna. So it's like you just never know, right? The sub is so live. I agree with Carolina. Like if this fight hits the ground, there's just not. I mean, she's Juarez Gomez is a albino belt in jits, so there's no wider that you can go.
Do you like the round 2 sub for Carolina? Like, do you think that's like? Or do you think she could do it in round 1?
Anytime, really. It's just women's MMA. So the likeliness that at some point this fight hits the ground, even by accident, is in the range of 20 just because of banana peel type stuff. So when you add that Carolina grappled in her last fight, and if she just she's a smart fighter. She's in a good camp. So if she like knows the assignment, which she has to in this fight, I mean, get the singlet on and do your deal. But yeah, I think the under is the better way to go, just like you're saying, because she could get bonked too.
Yeah, and then you could just root for somebody to die. Always a great bet. All right, you're up. What's your next prop you got for us?
I think Atman Azaitar is inside the distance is a good bet. I don't see much decision equity in him, barring him having cardio in the end of round 2 and round 3, which hasn't been shown. He just goes completely full rabies mode to kill people, and he's got the power to send people out. Add the fact that Frivola will fight intelligently sometimes and grapple, and other times he will just go straight into the lion's den. And and I was just thinking, like, Ottman's just in round 1 is just super dangerous against anybody, I think. So, like, KO for him is plus 140, and the inside the distance is plus 130. So I just took a shot on inside the distance. It's totally not worth it. Club and sub is always something that's there with these guys that are just mad killers. And a lot of times they do that with these kind of fighters, that they just give you a 10 cent off the ITD versus the KO. So I've been bit too many times to get caught on that.
Yeah, they do that with Ngannou like all the time. Like his money line and his in the distance will be like, it's like, come on.
Then he wins by points and breaks your heart.
I do love that fight, and I love the bet on Azaitar here. All right, let's go to this one's kind of square for me, but Erin Blanchfield submission at plus 330. I know she has KO equity. Like, I understand that, but she seems to have like good game plans every time she's out there. If there's a weakness with Molly, it's the takedown defense. Yeah, the ground and pounds live, but I think Erin Blanchfield is going to snatch up a neck. I actually have round 2 sub is like my favorite round prop, but keeping it simple, the submission at plus 330 is a lot of meat on the bone for a very definitive path for her to win this fight. What do you think about Blanchfield here? I mean, the money line's insane. Like, I would never recommend, even she's not a parlay piece even, like it is. No. But I think she gets it done inside the distance.
Yeah, people that hammer the line at minus 250, God bless your souls, because that's right. Where that's where the money was at. Really, it's not anywhere. You can't just bet her now at this line. Yeah, I'm with you. I would think that the sub is the way to go. Sub or points, most likely, and I think that she's really, really dangerous, and she passes well, and she understands how to the transitions. And like you said, McCann's defense, takedown defense is poor, as well as like her get ups put her in a lot of bad positions. So, I mean, she got ragdolled by Procopio. She did. I will say this though, she did have an armbar in on Procopio, which was a little scary at that point. But yeah, she got ragdolled by her. So I feel like the fight last time with JJ is different, because I think JJ Aldridge's takedown defense and strength in that position is completely different than what you're going to see with McCann. I think that Erin will get to those positions pretty solidly.
I want you to know that my friend Ryan Payne on Twitter, who follows both of us, thinks your hair looks glorious today.
Ryan,
I want you to know that. I agree that your hair looks glorious, and I agree.
Yeah. All the bettors on both of us wearing hats at minus 250. This is why you don't parlay people together on always wearing hats, guys. You guys are down a couple units.
That's right. Tim giving the contrarian something to think about. What's the next prop you got?
I will go with Whaley and Carla Esparza fight does not go the distance at minus 130. I mean, you can get cute on Whaley inside the distance at plus 100, and it's the same deal. It's just like minus 30 cents to get Carla in round 4 and 5 is a potential thing because Whaley is pretty front loaded first 3 rounds. She doesn't have the same hands in round 4 and 5, and she doesn't have the same gas because she's a freak. So I could see Carla, if she lasts, getting a finish. I'm not saying that that's like a high likeliness, but I just would not want to be hanging on to the Whaley ticket if you're hitting end of round 3 and then she hasn't finished it by that point. So I like fight doesn't go on that one. I do think eventually that Whaley is going to kill her on the feet and or get a panic shot at some point. Take that what you will if she takes a panic shot. So yeah, I just feel like the inside the distance for Whaley and the fight doesn't go.
One thing that I had looked at here, and I am not there yet, is Whaley rounds 1-2 at 2-1. I'm not getting enough meat on the bone for that prop, because to your point, I think her finish equity is early. I'm not bit. If there's going to be a late finish, I'm with you. I think it's the Sparza side. Me and she effectively wrestled her and gaffed her out. I do think Whaley's just so live early, but man, plus 200 is awful for round 1, round 2 there. For the
Yeah, I think the thing too about that fight that's interesting in comparison, everybody's talking about the Rose fight. There's no threat from Carlos Sparza striking.
No,
So
none.
That's really, in my opinion, what changes that fight. Like that is such a surprise tactic, and it's such a surprise tactic from Rose there that, and especially at that time in the fight where I just think that the shots are going to be so much more predictable from the Cookie Monster here, and that's going to be solely the one thing that Whaley's looking for. So yeah, it's going to be harder. I'm not saying that she's not a clearly better wrestler. She's one of the best wrestlers in the game. So I just think that because Rose has the ability to threaten her on the strikes and the kicks and with everything, and she's knocked her out before, it's like, dude, there's a completely different level. That person could be 50% the wrestler and get the takedown because you're just expecting different things.
Right. All right, I'm going to move on to my next prop, and only fitting that you're here because you and I are the two that love these kind of bets and everybody else hates them. It's our split decision. It's time for a split decision. We've been screwing around for 11 minutes on the show with that one. I'm going to give Brady some credit on this one too, because Brady and I were talking about this and he goes, is this line crazy? Frankie Edgar, fight to end and split is plus 550. Him to win by split is plus 1200. Tim, I know that you and I, when we bet these things, it's not one bet, it's 3 bets. You have to bet both sides of it and the split decision to maximize. Mathematically speaking, that is the way to go. It's Frankie Edgar. It's probably his retirement fight. It's in New York. I could see some home cooking. More importantly, on the Gutierrez side, I know Edgar's kind of washed. I know Gutierrez is coming off like crushing, like Batchery. Like, I get it. But he's 2 fights removed from having a split decision with Felipe Colares, who got demolished by Chase Hooper, which means that Steve Garcia should get a title shot. Sorry, the math like checks out here, but Frankie Edgar at home. I mean, the guys who are finishing him, there's no shame in Chito Vera finishing you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that Gutierrez can finish him. And if this thing goes to the judges, I think it gets super greasy. I don't expect any wrestling. It's going to be 15 minutes of striking. If there's any wrestling, it would be on the Edgar side. And look, man, this is a fight set up to go the distance for me and be really weird and get a really weird New York decision. I know you will give away split decision props tomorrow because I know how you think.
It's like it's the same. Like I kind of disagree. I think that Frankie will wrestle. Like I think that there's definite shot that I mean, I'm not saying that he's gonna go for 8 takedowns or something like that, but if you said set a line on over under on takedown attempts, I would say like 4.5.
Really?
Yeah, okay. In this fight for sure. Like I don't think that, because I think it also has to. I don't think it has to do with him as much as it has to do with it. Like he needs to do it. He doesn't want to stand. Like he's not going to want to stand at range with Gutierrez. He's going to get his leg kicked off. Like he will the only thing that one of the only things that Gutierrez does consistently well is stay at range so that he can kick you. And like that's the one thing that if Frankie lets him do that and stays at range, like it's going to be a really tough fight for him. That's where I think that the matchup is good for Chris. I think it's a bad matchup if you see instantly that he's pressuring him, he's getting in his face where he can't kick and he doesn't have the range to kick. Like it's completely different. And then he'll be able to maybe catch a kick as well and then take him down. So like I feel like there's multiple avenues that he could get takedowns. Add that the takedown defense from Gutierrez is not good. And his get up game isn't good. So it's just like those are huge factors. I think it could be like 2 takedowns and he holds them for a good amount of time. So if he does that, I could absolutely see this kind of fight, as well as like when it's standing, you're getting kicks and you're getting leg kicks and stuff like that. So they're not valued the same way as somebody punching somebody in the face. So yeah, don't hit it at all.
Edgar, I mean, Gordo just brought up in chat. I'm sorry, Plays and Fade Sports, who's definitely not Gordo, brought it up that the DK ownership for Edgar is going to be kind of interesting because he has takedown equity. He's cheap because he's a 2-to-1 dog. So if you guys really want to know about DK ownership, I personally would tune in tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern when Monk and I are on the show on this channel breaking down the slate from a DraftKings perspective. But and also check out Gordo's stuff. He is one of the best in the business. Tim, what is the last prop that you have on your board? Before I get to my nonsense.
This isn't a prop, but this is my biggest bet of the week. I rarely like hammer money lines, but when I see something that I like, this is like the had this a few cards ago with Beneil Dariush, and I hammered his money line as well when he was plus 205 against Gamrot. It's just like how quickly they forget, just how quickly they forget on how good guys are. And I lost a bet on Allen against Allen with Hooker. And it's not like I'm trying to chase the money back because I understood then it was a bad bet and there was risk there, him going down to 145 looking like hell. But he's murderer's row. The fighters that he's fighting is an absolute murderer's row. And I just don't think that this whole washed narrative is on. And if it is, and Claudio is not sub or bust here, I'd be shocked. I just don't think that he's not sub or bust here. And this is coming from somebody that cashed a 50-to-1 ticket on him at
bar special.
I like the guy a lot. From a money standpoint, I cashed against Grutzmacher with him as well. I absolutely don't think that this is a fight that he can win. And I feel like, man, I tell you what, I'll just say this, look at the props and look at the numbers and watch Dan Hooker fight. And there specifically, watch the Burns fight. If you want to see a really, really, really good prop, you can just watch that fight. Burns is one of the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys out there, and he gets him in a really, really, really bad spot.
This is wise words from somebody who just turned 21, by the way. Very wise words. These are words to consider and then maybe live by.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm on Hooker pretty big, and if the line keeps going down, I'm just going to add to it. So yeah, I feel like this is a really, really good spot for him. And I think that he's good enough on the ground if it does hit there to knock it sub.
This is one of my strongest plays as well. And I think the one thing is it's not only that he has KO equity, but he has decision equity because 15 minutes on the feet he could look minus 500 here. I'm with you. What I don't understand is the line movement. Who's pushing this line in favor of us? It's just a little I haven't bet it yet because there's no reason to.
I'm worried it's James Krause.
Well, James Krause is doing James Krause stuff. All right, I have one more on my. Actually, I had two more, but I don't know which one to give you here. So I'm going to give you this.
Do them both.
All right, I'll do this one quick. I'm going to plant my flag. John Kelly, I think, is the only person on this bet with me. I'm taking Michael Chandler round 1 KO. It's not so much I think Chandler's the better fighter. I don't know what we're getting from Poirier. I mean, the guy's coming off again, he's losing big fights. And Chandler, somehow in his head seems to think he's always going to get a title shot with a win. I could see Chandler coming out here and bonking him early. It's plus 750 for the round 1 KO. This is a dude who almost knocked out Oliveira round 1. So plus 750 for what I think is his win equity. Look, man, everybody's like, oh, Chandler could go to the wrestling. Yeah, I'm sure he could. Will he? I doubt it. I could see this being very similar to the approach with Gaethje. That he just wants to he's saying, oh man, I just need to get a win and get to the title. Come on, dude. Some guys they want to put on a show. And Chandler's kind of just wants to go out there and annihilate fools. So it's not like I love Chandler as the bet here the most. It's more that I think his win condition is round 1 KO. And at plus 750, it's a numbers play more than anything else. I think if this fight gets extended, Poirier probably takes over late, but we'll see.
I think there's a weird dynamic. I agree with you at first about his takedowns and wrestling, but then I like pre-tape, I totally agreed with you. I'm like, he doesn't, like, he's got a huge wrestling advantage. If he wrestles here, this line's way off. And then I did the tape, and I'm like, and he's not, but then I said he's not going to wrestle. And I'm like, that's the thing. I'm like, he's just going to go into the fire, and he did this with everybody, right? And then I watched the tape on the last few fights, and with the Gaethje fight and Tony, as soon as he got rocked, he went for takedowns both times, like, and hit both of them. And I feel like it's kind of, that's where I kind of like wishy-washy on this fight, just thinking, and I'm not saying like he's going to go out there and try to, you know, get 8 or 9 takedowns and things like that, but Poirier is shown to have bad hips and shown that he can be taken down in these situations. So it's not like I feel like it's going to be there all day for him, because even Gaethje, I mean, Gaethje's good takedown defense, a lot better, you know, like
underrated, very underrated.
Right. But he still was able to like power double, get him down instantly. Same thing with Tony. It's like, I really feel like if he takes that route, people with minus 200 Dustin Poirier tickets are going to be a little bit shaky. But yeah, I don't have any bets on this fight. But yeah, I mean, round 1 KO for Chandler. He bonks people all day long, and he like, historically, it's just a good bet.
So here's the other nonsense one I have, and and you know how much I love betting on Philly guys, so this one will shock you. Wellington Turman round 3 submission at 18-1. All right, so there's a stupid reason and there's a good reason. Here's the stupid reason. Philly was undefeated. That, you know, the Gracie Gym was undefeated, and then Sabatini gets crushed in round 1, and then Brady got crushed in round 2. So wouldn't it just make sense that Petrovsky gets crushed in round 3 to complete the cycle? The other thing here is people like, it's hard, but I don't know what to make of Petrovsky, and I'm curious what your opinion is. He's looked good. He's dominated people that have no wrestling. And as much as the knock on his cardio is valid, he's finishing people in the 3rd round. So, like, how bad could his cardio be? The problem is his cardio is fading when he's on top for 10 minutes, which is so strange. Like, it really shouldn't. But I think Turman, the guys he's lost, I mean, like the Bruno Silva loss is forgivable. Like, Silva hits like a ton of bricks. He had a lot of success until he didn't. I don't know how good or bad Turman is. Like, Alvey hurt him. I mean, there's like, his tape is so fucking weird, man. Like, that I don't know what to make of him, but I think this is more like I want to have a round 3 submission bet on this card, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. I don't know what side you're on in this fight, but am I crazy that like a round 3 sub on either side is very live?
Yeah, you could even do fight ends in round 3 potentially in that one, right? Like, I'm with you 100% on your Petrovsky read. Like, I think both of these guys are very, very tough to cap. Like, just it's their. I agree 100% that the narrative on the gas is arguable, because half of his wins or half of his finishes are round 2 or round 3. So like, you cannot make the argument. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care who he's fighting. Like, you can't make the argument that he doesn't finish guys when you get like guys like Montel Jackson, who, you know, against JP Baez, and you're like, that dude doesn't finish guys. Like, that guy has guys on skates and doesn't kill guys. Like, that's clear as day. Where Petrovsky clearly has, when he gets guys dead, he knows it, and that's when he goes for the finish. I also think he's functionally gassed. Like, he's gassing, but he's still functioning. And there's times where he's on guys in the end of the 1st round, and you're looking at him like he's tired. And then he finishes the same guy in the 3rd round. And you're like, yeah, I mean, he was tired for the last 10 minutes. So he's really tough to cap. And then you take Turman, and it's the exact same thing. It's like, what is this guy? What is this guy? This is the guy.
Very well said. What is this guy?
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy that loses on the feet pretty bad to Alvey, like you said. And he's the guy who slips in a sneaky ass armbar sub on Serkinov from, you know, like, it's just crazy. I'm not trying to say to discredit it. I thought that shit was tight. Like, it was it was Serkinov getting caught in a situation like Paul Craig catches people in a triangle, but he caught him in an armbar. It's like you have to be good to do that to Serkinov, and I think that it's going to be a tricky fight. And I don't even know that it finishes. Like, I don't think the books have any idea in this fight. They look at the props on both guys and they're all across the board. They're giving you pretty close around. So I don't think that even they know what's going to happen in this, or getting you to try to bet certain things and trap you on stuff. So
if that's the case, always take the plus money. If you just don't know, gun to your head, always go with the plus money. And at least that's my feeling on that. All right, Tim, we've gotten to the best part of the show, not the hair portion. It's time to pick a fight with a Yambag special. For those watching for the first time, we're betting on a point deduction. DraftKings and Betway offer them. Definitely in Pennsylvania. I don't know. It's state to state. I know New York doesn't, but just hook me up. I'll put a Yambag bet in. Just let me know. Tim and I have no idea what each other picked. We don't like spoiling it. So Tim, choose your weapon. What fight is the Yambag special?
I'm going back to the well here. I am going straight back to the well. You got it. You got it, plays and fades, 100%. Last time Negumereanu fought, I bet point to be deducted in his fight. I bet draw to be in that fight. I bet split decisions.
Drawbags, it's called.
Drawbacks. That's right. So yeah, that was the most angry I've ever been, winning a 20-1 ticket and a 12-1 ticket, because I missed a 14-1 ticket and a 50-1 ticket that I should have won. So Negumereanu and Ulberg, somebody's going to get maybe an eye poke. Somebody's going to get a ball shot, Yambagger classic. Point to be deducted in that one. First fight, get your 20-1 early and spend that cash later on.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll give you my backup because I like that one a lot. Just talking about this fight, but I'm going to say Petrovsky and Turman. I just hate Wellington Turman. And Petrovsky, as somebody from Philly, I can tell you this right now, Petrovsky looks like somebody who enjoys kicking somebody in the can. and in a fight that I think A, doesn't finish early, and B, will have so much grappling and so much awkward striking, because neither guy is a good striker. I think eye pokes are live there. I think grabbing the cage is live there on all these takedowns, especially when we're talking about with one guy who has cardio concerns big time. I do think a cage grab is there. Much like you, I will, if you're going to bet a point deduction, you have to bet the draw. There's just no other. The draw bags has to happen. Like, you get a 20 to 50-1, you take it. It can save your night. So I want to give an honorable mention. I was going to play Reyes and Spann because they hit hard. It's righty versus lefty, which is conducive to it. The only problem is I don't like doing Yambag fights when I think the fight's going to end in 5 minutes. Like, they need time. The bags need time to ruminate. It needs time to develop. You need multiple warnings from some of these refs. Like, you do. Like, if it's Herb, may need 9 hard warnings for it to happen. So you may need the third round to get there. But the last time Negu fought was this late second round was the point deduction. Am I right? Or
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because Kennedy poked him in the eye like fucking 5 times, screaming at the TV like, "Stop warning him!" What? Like, last warning, but now this is the last warning. I'm like, and he just poking and poking and poking. Like, he was never gonna stop. So
Kennedy also has like a 98-inch reach too. So it was such a great, such a great thing.
Who had bet the draw there? Was that you? Was Pep? Did Pepe also have that? I think
we all all the Lambo plays. I think it was Chad, MMA Giga Chad, Narco, and I think we all had it that night.
And you should have won it. You got screwed
clear as day.
You were there, man.
Yeah, clear as day. I mean, Kennedy won 2 rounds, got the point taken. It was so clear that the 1 round was Negumereanu, and there's oh, this is gonna cash split, or it's gonna be split decision. It's gonna be I'm gonna cash the split, or I'm gonna cash the 50-1. I'm like, I cashed the split on the 12-1 instead of the 14-1, and then I hit the 20-1 and missed the 50-1. I was pissed, and I won a lot of money. I'm like, as mad as I could be.
You can literally not be set up better for a draw than the way that fight played out. Like it was like crystal, like, but that brings us to the end of the show. Tim, thank you for coming on, number one.
Thank you, Lou.
One of my favorite people. And please tell the people where to find you specifically tomorrow night.
Yeah, we got Lambo plays with me and Narco. We're going to have a couple really good guests. And then on Saturday, Sean Orr and I will do a Spaces at 1:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, just to give our best plays. And then everybody comes on. We have a really sharp chat that comes in there and gives their best plays of the day.
Narco and Tim's show is my favorite show to watch. They are the only two that are equally as crazy to me in terms of like the shit we do. I should mention that especially the last time I was on the Lambo show, I think I hit 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was Stolyarenko around 1 sub to start. I'm like, not a bad start to the show. It is my personal favorite to watch. I love it. And Sean Orr, I don't know if most of you guys that are watching this probably know Sean. He is like one of my favorite people on Twitter, period. Because dude's fucking hilarious. Like, really is. And Chad, the whole group is like,
yeah, great guys.
A lot of fun, a lot of comedy, and a lot of fun that goes on with that group. So, highly recommend checking out Twitter Spaces with Tim. And all the boys that he does work with are all super fucking sharp, especially from a live betting perspective. Like during the fights, they can make you some serious scratch. So that is it for the show, guys. Anybody that's watching, please like and subscribe to the video on the channel. We appreciate it. Go follow Tim at Timothy_Troiano on Twitter. He is a great follow. He's a good meme guy, underrated meme guy. So go follow him for all his knowledge, and good luck this weekend on your bets. Thank you, and God bless. Da, da, da.